Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every day. Please, if you could head over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button. And if you are getting off the hook at the moment, drop a like on the video. The most important thing, hit that like button. So important. You guys are getting off the hook. I've been checking it. I know I've been taking names. I know who is and isn't. So there you go. So make sure you're all hitting that like button. Exit out of the chat, hit the like, and then come back into the chat. Let's make sure this is all happening. Marky, how are we?
I'm all good, cuz. How are you keeping?
Not too bad at all. I had a week at home last week because I was looking after the dog business because Hillary and Lauren were away in Italy. And
Yeah.
Dylan was over there as well. He was at Travis Scott. So he had a wonderful time. He had an unbelievable time over there. But unfortunately, the two ladies in my life brought COVID back and they're isolating in their room. So now I'm like a clown in a juggling act at the moment.
Everything to
balance everything out and keep it
Hopefully,
over.
speedy recovery for Hill and Lauren, you know.
And avoid catching it. I can't afford to be
Yeah.
catching it either.
Especially
But
this
that's
week, like you were just saying there, you know, busy week coming up for you. So
big busy week. Don't forget Wednesday Pro Wrestling Weekly. Myself and Russ will be bringing you all the build up to SummerSlam this week and all the latest pro wrestling news as well. Wednesday 8 o'clock. Make sure don't miss it. Thursday, I'm not sure yet. Thursday show. Darren's lovely wife Rosanna has her birthday this Thursday, so they might be caught up for that. So if they are, what I might do is I might switch it up and see can I get Dino on and maybe do a Shankly sessions. Lots of Liverpool news coming out over the last few days, so let's see what happens there. But we're going to get through tonight. But as always, Marky, you kick us off. Let us know what's happening.
Yes, lads, for everyone in the chat, if you can go on to Instagram, give my page a follow, and go on to Facebook, give us a like and a follow as well. You know, with a busy weekend, the trophies were up in Letterkenny this past weekend for the United Legends game, which Yap Staminal was there and actually finished 6-all, believe it or not. And United scored a penalty, missed a penalty, everything. I had the lot. I was talking to Browner yesterday for a while, and he was telling me. And then this Saturday, we're going to be in Ballyfermot with the Manchester United Legends again. Yap Stam is going to be there. Brian McClare, all the lads. Paul Parker's coming over. I've never met Paul before, so it'd be nice to meet him and have a chat and stuff like that. So we're in the Manhattan pub for the meet and greet. The meet and greet starting at 12 o'clock on Saturday morning. We are then going from there down to the pitch across from Wheatfield Prison or Clover Hill, I think it is, whatever. Where Ballyfermot United play. Kickoffs 3 o'clock. And then we're going to be in the Clayton Hotel in Liffey Valley on Saturday night for the gala dinner. So really looking forward to that. And as I said, I have a few bits and pieces I'm looking forward to getting signed by Yap Stam and stuff like that as well. So we'll be there with the trophies for the day. So anyone going down, come over, introduce yourself, get a few pictures with the trophies and stuff like that as well, you know.
And don't think for a minute, because these lads are labelled legends, that changes anything. Yap Stam is the exact same Yap Stam that he was in his prime when he walks onto that pitch.
There was a video and one of the lads said, "Jeez, you caught me hard down there." He goes, "No, we won the ball." You watch it. There's one. I think Letterkenny have it. Someone made a video montage or whatever. It was very good. But yeah, no, we still fit as a fiddle. And Browner was telling me he was getting forward at one stage and taking shots from all areas and stuff, you know. And the lads were very well looked after. They went for a game of golf up there on the Friday. Browner was telling me it's meant to be one of the biggest golf courses in Ireland or something like that. And then the Saturday was the meet and greet and the match and the gala dinner. And Browner, I was on to Browner yesterday for a while, and yeah, he sounded tired, let's just say, you know. So he's been a busy man, and he was telling me about a few of the games coming up next year. So there's massive games coming up. There's at least 4 games coming up, and it's not one of them is a United Legends. One of them's going to be a Liverpool Legends game, and the other one, for the first time ever, is going to be a Leeds United Legends game, which is going to be unbelievable, you know, because obviously the support Leeds would have over here, you know, throughout the years and stuff like that. So, but now we'll try get you on board for the Liverpool game as well, because we have to get you out to another game as well, you know.
Hopefully Browner can get a few guys on to promote it as well. We'll have a bit of crack with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and keep an eye out. We might have a few people on over the next few weeks as well. Let's see.
Yeah, definitely. No, we have I have something lined up. Like I said, unfortunately, he went away on holiday last Friday for 10 days or so. So he said he's going to come on after. So we'll announce that when we get a time and a date.
Get a confirmation. Yeah, absolutely. And also, before we start the show tonight, folks, as always, we seem to be doing this a lot recently, but our thoughts and prayers are going out to the victims of that situation in Southport today. Very, very disturbing.
I only
Very,
seen that
very
there a few
sad.
minutes ago.
And yeah, really, really sad and stuff like that. I don't know what goes through a person's mind to do it, and especially when you're targeting kids and stuff like that and all.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense to me. It'll never make sense to me. But our thoughts and prayers and of course condolences go out to anyone who's been affected by it, the families, the victims, the friends, the location, the community, everything, and the greater people at large. So listen, hug your kids tight tonight and all, and make sure, you know, the usual. Jack saying, big up Jack, big up Jordan. How are you guys? Hope you're having a good week.
How are you, Jack? How are
Starting
you, Jordan? And Jack,
tennis.
who's paying a trip to Tranmere tomorrow evening? Come on, the Blackpool. The Super Seasiders are in
There
playing
you go.
against Tranmere away now tomorrow evening, so that should be a good one. I hope you're going to it, Jack.
Yeah, I'll try and get Jamie on Daz. I'll hit him up with a message later, see if he's free on Wednesday for the SummerSlam show. We'll have a bit of
How are you,
crack.
Daz? I've just seen the previous message there. How are you, Daz? Hope you're keeping well, buddy.
Everyone's all good. Hope you're all good. Right, so we have an interesting show tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about transfers. We're going to be talking a little bit about Bordeaux, Mark. We have to talk about
Yes.
Bordeaux. I'm going to get your thoughts. I got Darren's the other night on the Olympics from a football point of view and how it has all kind of started in a kind of a melee. And also the punishment that was handed out today that's been it's been taken up with Cass as well, an appeal to the Canadian football team. So we'll talk about that and get your thoughts on that as well. We're going to be talking about Jason Malumbi
Did
losing
you
the
see
head
that? Did you see that?
altogether in
That was
WWE.
something else, man.
Um, I'll get your thoughts on United pre-season at the moment. Very unfortunate the other night. Hoyland and Eleni Yoro going
Mm.
off injured. And Johnny Evans could have easily have picked up a broken leg as well. Crazy, crazy stuff for pre-season. But pre-season is mental everywhere. It's kicking off everywhere at the moment
Oh,
pre-season. I
big
don't know
time.
what's going on.
Big time.
But we'll get your thoughts on that as well. The news today that the Rejuvenation Task Force for Man United have recommended building a whole new stadium. We'll get your thoughts on that. Last week we spoke with Darren on the show about the new tunnel and how it was
Mm.
taking shape, and he had a varying view on it and stuff like that. But we'll get your thoughts on that, obviously, because you're kind of in around that, Darren, and you grew up through that unbelievable, successful period at Man United as well.
Mm.
So obviously aspects of Old Trafford and Man United and stuff like that are sacrilege to you and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But we get your thoughts
100%.
on how it develops and stuff like that. What else have I got for you? We're going to be talking about, I think, Steve Coogan, I think it is it? Steve
Oh, for
Coogan.
the Roy Keane and
We're going to be talking about Saipan. They're doing a docu-series movie on it or something. And we're going to be talking about that. And if you're interested, folks, don't forget, there is an episode on the channel that me and Marky did. It's the highest viewed episode that's ever been on the channel, where we took a look back at Saipan. What was it, 20 years on, I think it was, wasn't it?
yeah, something
20
like that.
years
Yeah.
on is the highest viewed episode on this channel in its history. So check that out. If you don't get a chance to check it out, I will share it across our socials this week as well. It's well worth the view. Interesting dynamic between the two of us. We certainly didn't just agree or disagree on the points that were raised.
That's it.
But I thought it was quite fitting considering looking at United's pre-season this week and playing on turf instead of grass and
Mm.
is that the way to go? Is that what should be happening? All that kind of stuff. But look, we'll start first of all with Bordeaux.
Mm.
Bordeaux, no longer a thing, renounced its professional status achieved in 1937. And I know this is kind of a little bit flown under the radar and stuff like that because generally speaking, football fans, if it's not their club or a really, really big club, they don't really care. It's like it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. We've seen it with
exactly.
Berry, we've seen it with Derby skating on it and all this stuff and stuff. It's really, really important that we highlight these things because this could be my club or your club or any other club in the future can easily happen to it and stuff like that. The contracts of all the players have been terminated and the training centre has been shut down. Obviously, Bordeaux on Tuesday went into administration, relegated to the third tier of French football after the potential takeover talks with FSG, my own FSG, of course, Liverpool owners, broke down and collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
They owe in the region of something. I think that's now. I thought it would have been a lot more because it's 50 million or something like that, as far as I read. Now, I wouldn't have thought 50 million is a huge amount of
The
money for
amount, yeah.
to push it that far, but obviously it was. They've been champions in France 6 times, and they have one of the biggest fan bases in France, of course, with former players, including Zinedine Zidane, Christophe Dugarry, John Tigana, who was the French manager.
Mm.
He was the French coach, wasn't he, a number of times?
Yeah, he was
And
indeed.
and obviously, up till recent times, obviously, Tchouameni, the boy who went to Real Madrid, fantastic player.
Madrid, yeah.
Um, Lopez bought the club in the summer of 2021 after he had placed into administration under the previous American owners, King Street. And this is the warning at the moment when we see a lot of these ownerships coming in at the moment from America and various different parts of the world, stuff like that. We've seen it with some of the Russian owners, we've seen it with some of the China owners, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily just American, but they're there for a certain reason, and their reason is to make money, investment, finance, capital, rapture it all up. And if that doesn't happen, they get out of town pretty quick, and
Uh,
then you're left in this situation here. In 2022-23 season, they were just 3 points away from direct promotion, and in 23-24 season, in the mid-table, 12th place. And now they have a major problem. The club needs 40 million by the 23rd of July. It didn't happen to avoid relegation to the third tier, and it doesn't look like they are going to get it, and the club has collapsed. So now you have a fan base there with fans who probably have followed this club all their life, have invested a huge part of their life. Apparently, they're one of the best fan bases in France, and now they no longer have a club.
hmm.
Thoughts?
It's it's listen, as a football fan, you never like seeing this happen at all, and they've been on a decline for quite a few years in terms of from a fall from grace, as you would say, and you were so used to seeing them. Obviously, they played in the Champions League back in the day, and they were always in the UEFA Cup and stuff like that as well, and producing good players. But yeah, just with what happened over the last few years, it's very disheartening, especially for fans as well. And um, I watched a documentary about Bury a few years ago and how they lost their status and they went into to receivership and
Yeah,
everything else, and then they just banish as a team. But in the documentary, it goes into the surrounding area. And it will be the same in Bordeaux. So you're looking at the likes of the local shops, the pubs, all these facilities around the area that are going to lose out on revenue and match days and stuff like that.
massive knock-on
It's
effect.
it's it's those types of things, and obviously Bury fans worked very hard behind the scenes to get the club back up and running. But there's so many loops you have to jump through, and um, it's so sad because they're big French team, like you said. They won the French league 6 times. Produced some players. Cantona had a loan spell there. I think he played 10 or 11 games with them back in the early, I think, the late 80s, early 90s, whatever it was. But it's sad to see, and hopefully, listen, FSG were in talks to come in, and it didn't happen. And it's always vicarious if you're waiting on one set of owners to come in. You'd like to see a few people come in and maybe try to bid each other, outbid each other, and stuff like that. And yeah, it's so sad to see, and you feel sorry for the fans and the players, especially some of the younger players coming up through the youth academy who God knows what's going to happen to them now. Some of the more established players will probably get moves, and obviously free transfers and stuff like that. They'll get snapped up, but it's a lot of the younger lads coming through the academy. It'd be interesting to see what happens to them.
Yeah, it rings a bell with me, especially because I remember not so long ago our own club on the steps of the court potentially going into administration
Yeah,
until
yeah,
FSG stepped in. So it's really really important that people understand this is not a big club thing. This can be an any club thing. You
yeah.
know what I mean? This can be any club that's mismanaged over a number of years and has a massive fall from grace and stuff like that and all. We've spoken
Mm,
about, all this, financial fair play and the profit and sustainability and all that
yeah,
kind of stuff and all. And at times we sneer at it because we want our clubs to make signings and
yeah,
spend money and do all that kind of stuff. But it is truly really remarkable as well. You need to understand that it's important that your club's finances, you know, remain really intact and really, really positive and stuff like that. That you're not heavily weighted on huge amounts of debt and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Exactly.
One thing can just happen to trigger another thing, before you know it, you're relegated to the Championship or League One or League Two or whatever it is, and before you know it, you're no longer around anymore. We seen it
Yeah,
with Leeds
exactly.
when they went down then into the Championship and stuff like that. 20 odd years it took them or whatever it is to come back up. That's a long time as a fan,
Yeah,
and it can
100%.
easily happen and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Just unless they're
you look at as well in recent times the likes of Bolton, always a
yeah,
stronghold in the Premier League, and their fall from grace as well. And Coventry were the same at one stage. They had to play their home games in Birmingham's ground and St Andrews and
mm,
stuff like that. And they were locked out of the Rioch Arena, and it's so sad to see. Especially you're so used to like those two clubs I just mentioned in the 90s and the noughties. We were so used to seeing them in the Premier
yeah,
League,
yeah,
and they were a real mainstay of that era. And when you see something like that, it's tough. And you seen the crowds dwindle then, and the diehard fans are the only ones there to pick up the pieces. Like Sir Bolton, one of the lads there, one of the groundsman, he went the whole year and a half without getting paid, and he was putting his time and effort into it. And
mm.
it's sad
So
to
we
see,
seen it even at Derby. Remember when Rooney was there? He was spending his own money on stuff
exactly,
to
exactly.
prop
So
it up
yeah,
and stuff
no,
like
it
that.
is. It's terrible. And come here, just
You know,
Daz, I hope you're feeling a bit better, man. Sorry to hear that, buddy.
absolutely, absolutely, 100%. ASOS is in. Jose wants Anthony on season loan transfer. Don't
You can
think
have
that's
him.
happening. I think that
You
was
can
tossed
have
up
him if you
anyway.
want him.
Daz says he might have a horse for us tomorrow. We always appreciate that.
Perfecto.
Bordeaux FC, greatest players of all time, Zidane and Cantona. There you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
Cantona had a long spell there. Yeah.
FSG pulled out of the negotiations. They certainly did.
Yep.
Chelsea ate completely utter from the season.
Go on, the Aces. Tell
I
us how you
tell
really
you,
feel.
tell you, man, it's mad. This has been the craziest preseason ever, both in terms of structure, in terms of
Everything.
results,
Yeah.
in terms of everything. It's just the Euros and all has kind of messed it up somewhat as well.
Big style.
I know Jack is saying that we want one of their youngsters on a free, mate.
I
I
was
wasn't
seeing that
familiar
today
with
myself.
that.
Yeah, I was reading that. All right.
Absolutely. Williams in, big up William. We're hey the
Oh, you
lads.
will.
Thanks, bud.
Will is coming out, I think, to the game on Saturday, ain't you, Will?
Oh, nice. You'll have to get a little snippet off Will for the channel as well if he's there.
That's it.
Get a
Definitely.
little video. Noel, when can we get Mark and Dazzler both on a panel with you? I don't know. We kind of split it, because these guys are very, very busy like me. Not only are we doing podcasting, but we have family and business and all that stuff to run as well. So, even giving up an hour or two a week is a big commitment for these guys every week and stuff. So, but we will probably not next week, probably the week after, we'll do a panel because we'll be doing our Premier League predictions and all. So we
Okay.
always bring on a panel for
Yes.
that show and stuff so we can look back at it and snigger and laugh a little bit more, you know.
Have a bit of crack.
Dugarry, what a baller. His skills was ridiculous. Absolutely. 100%. He
100%.
didn't he have a stint with Harry Redknapp, was it, at Portsmouth?
He did,
Christoph,
didn't he?
or was he at Birmingham?
No, was he at Bolton, no? Was he?
No, it definitely wasn't
No.
Bolton. It was either Birmingham or
Yeah, I'll Google
Portsmouth.
that now.
Yeah,
That's going to wreck me head.
I think it was Birmingham. So it wouldn't have been Harry. Was it Birmingham or
Might have
Portsmouth?
been Brucey, was it? Steve Bruce, no?
I'm nearly sure it was Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, you're right, Birmingham.
Was it Birmingham?
Yeah,
It wasn't
played.
Redknapp then, was it?
He was on loan and then he signed for them for 15
Remember that
games.
right at
Let's
the tail
see.
end of his career.
Birmingham 2003.
As he started off that scraggly long curly hair, didn't he?
Yes,
With
remember, yeah.
with the mini headband holding it back, remember?
Stevie Bruce was the manager, yeah, I was right.
I'm not too bad then, I got it, yeah. There, ASOS was in Birmingham under Steve Bruce.
And who eliminated them in the League Cup that season?
Us?
No.
Yous?
Not well, kind of us. Not United.
Blackpool?
Yay!
There you go. There you go. Jack's in. I already done my prem predictions on someone's channel with Jordan, and Jordan just said all the predictions I said.
He's our in sync. He's our in sync.
Mark, United won 3-1 last week against Chester.
Seeing that as a lot of the obviously the U team lads were playing in that. It's good to see them get an opportunity,
Absolutely. Right, let's talk about this. Jason Malumbi going all WWE. This absolutely broke down. And this wasn't like, I think there was more punches thrown in this than there wasn't the Chishora Joyce fight the other night.
Fight, yeah.
But What did you make of this? It's kicking off this preseason, and we seen Levi Colwell absolutely strangling James McLean.
Yeah,
We see Malumbi kicking off here as well. The Arsenal United game was the filthiest game we've watched in a long time, especially for pre-season.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
give us your thoughts overall first, and then what's going to happen with poor old Jason?
Yeah, he showed more passion in that 10-second clip than he did any time he played for Ireland. Anyway, I tell you. But yeah, it's a funny one because like obviously they stick their heads on each other, and the Mallorca players obviously said something to rattle him, and he just started laying in the digs, and it takes a
From
second for a few of the West Brom and the Mallorca players to run over because I think they're in disbelief to what just happened because you always see handbags and just pushes, but to actually throw digs like that, it was mad to see. Like I loved
apparently
it.
from the other camera angle, apparently, and I haven't seen this. Your man threw a dig first, and either hit
Did
him with
he?
a body shot or hit him with a shot to
Right.
the chest or something, and
So
that's
maybe
what
that's what.
prompted Malumbi to
Yeah,
go
because they
full
just
ball.
they stuck their head in each other, and I thought he might have just said something because to give him that reaction. But yeah, I didn't realize now there's a little dig thrown before that. That makes it more interesting. Like,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, no, the preseason so far that United Arsenal game, it reminds you of a game back in the noughties when we were both going for the league and we hate each other and there was killings. Remember Pizzagate and stuff like that and all. And but yeah, no, it's
Beautiful,
interesting.
beautiful, beautiful stadium.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful stadium,
lovely,
the Sophie Stadium.
lovely.
Yeah, owned by the Cronkies.
Cronkies, yeah, didn't he
Mm.
played for it himself, didn't he?
Yeah, he bought it. He
Yeah,
he paid for himself. Yeah, he built it. Yeah, that was at a time where remember they were tiptoeing through the transfer windows. Arsenal where Cronky
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
bringing his cash into that and stuff like that. And that
I didn't
it's only
realize
when
his
you
wife is the heir to the Walmart chain.
yeah yeah
So plenty of
money
money
brings
there, huh?
money brings money, doesn't it? Money.
Big
Yeah,
time,
and they own
big
don't they
time.
own they own the Rams, don't they? The Rams play over
Yes,
there. The
yeah,
great
yeah.
Rams. Yeah, big bucks, big bucks.
But now it
Uh,
looks well. Justin Bieber now is at the game.
Henri gave to Gary stick after scoring some victory at St Andrews. Can you
Love
imagine?
it.
SPFL and League Two and one kickoff this weekend. I'll let Darren know. Make sure Darren knows.
Probably yeah, League
I'm
One.
gonna
Come
go
on, the
make some
Black Belt.
cocoa pops. I'm starving. Good man,
Oh, I
Jack.
can't beat the
A
Cocoa Pop,
cocoa.
especially drinking the milk at the end.
I put sugar on the cocoa pops as
Nah,
well.
Jack, I wouldn't do that now. Obviously, I would on Rice Krispies and all, throw a little bit of sugar on top, but not with Cocoa Pops, man.
Yeah, WrestleMania 39 was there. That's right. Yeah, it looked amazing. Right, I want to get your thoughts on.
Are you going to stay up for the United Liverpool game?
I probably what's coming up. I think Wednesday night we've Arsenal, haven't we? Arsenal. Then you're the weekend, are you, or is it
Think
you?
so. Isn't it 3 o'clock kickoff or something like that?
Yeah, something crazy. I don't know. I might or may not stay up for it.
I was
Depends if
hoping, like I was hoping to stay up for the United Arsenal game the other night, but I was wrecked, man. Wrecked from working the kids and doing the garden. The usual.
yeah,
Sound like an owl lad, like, but I
yeah.
fell asleep eventually.
I stayed up on Saturday. I actually slept downstairs on Saturday, so I was floating between the boxing, and then I went into the football, and then I went into the UFC.
UFC,
So
yeah, yeah,
there
Paddy
was
the Baddy.
killings at the UFC as well. It was kicking off at the UFC as well.
I was seeing a bit of
Great.
the Paddy the Baddy, and obviously, Aspel,
I
and then
don't
they were
think it's a
sharing it.
good. I don't think it's a good idea to be running shows in the UK on US time. I
Yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
if that's a good idea or
Doesn't
not.
really work out. Are they meant to be doing a WrestleMania in London? Did I read something about that, or what's the story?
Yeah, we'll be talking about it on Wednesday night. Triple H was over meeting with Khan, the London mayor, and Nick Khan was over as well. Looks like it's going to be a goer, but obviously they got to iron out a few things. Weather being one of them.
Yeah,
Um,
Cocoa Pops
my
and
guess
cheese,
is
not
that
together. JP, is it? Sorry, cuz.
Jesus, yeah, JP, let us know. Let us know. That says going to get my last tablet soon. Yeah, I hope you're all good, mate. Hope you're all
Definitely does. Keep up
good.
the spirits, man.
Mate, I need energy, especially being around Jordan. I need as much energy as I have.
Go on,
Jordan's
Jack.
full on. He's a full on dude, isn't he? The only thing, Jack, about the sugar, be careful of the sugar and the energy because the crash is worse than the high.
Yeah,
Once you
exactly.
come
Yeah.
off it, United versus Liverpool is 1 a.m. same time as SummerSlam.
Is
Yeah, so
that
it'll be
Saturday night into Sunday
that,
morning or
that's
Sunday night?
Saturday
Is
night,
it?
Saturday night and Sunday morning. Yeah,
Well,
Sunday
you
night.
know who I could be watching. Could be watching that with Yap Sam on Saturday night. You never know.
It'll be a long night.
Clayton Hotel.
Do a watch along with him. I'll send you a link.
Definitely. We'll see how blurry the eyes are. Actually, send me, if you're doing a live on Saturday night, send me a link and I'll get it up on my phone and try to get a few of the lads on.
Yeah, absolutely, be some crack, wouldn't it? WrestleMania 42, Wembley. I have a funny feeling they're gonna go with Spurs. I know they're talking Wembley, but the roof in Wembley doesn't lend itself to it at all. And I was
Mm.
looking at the Spurs one the other night, and I was thinking you could easily tarp that off. I was talking to Darren about it. You could tarp off that gap and have it, or that gap and have it enclosed. The Wembley
Yeah,
gap
yeah.
is huge, so not sure. Off topic, we won our first Olympic medal. I seen that.
Who won
Seen
it?
that. Um,
I
what was
seen
it
him when
now?
McSharry came third there in the swimming earlier on this evening. We do
Mm.
have the Olympics on from the morning till the evening time. I'll always get up and just stick
Oh,
it
in the
on, and
shop.
the girls are
Yeah.
watching it.
Mm. I think me and Jordan are doing a watch along for Liverpool versus Arsenal. Very good. Make sure you drop the links in if you want to share them or get them ready. Question:
Definitely.
what do you put in the bowl or plate first, milk or the cereal? The cereal.
Cereal, and then pile
Cereal
on the milk.
always. Cereal always. Yeah. I'm not a sweet cereal guy either. Like I'm a fruit and fiber guy. I'm a
Yeah,
fruit.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I actually throw sugar over fruit and fibre, believe it or not.
Nah, sure, it's sweet already from the
I
fruit. I
know,
do.
yeah. Like
Do
that
you
extra
do
bit of
the
sweetness on it.
2 minutes in the microwave?
I used it, and then
It's
the
lovely
girls.
warm.
Oh
It's
no, it
lovely.
is. The girls start wanting to pick at it, and they like it cold. So, but
Yeah.
Rowan, who does be in the chat, he eats dry cereal. He doesn't like milk.
Oh my god.
So,
I
Rowan, if
actually
you're
I actually
watching,
follow a DJ on TikTok. Fish56 is his name. And while he's doing his DJ sets, he eats Weetabix dry out of a bowl.
serious.
I don't know how he does it. It's ridiculous.
Oh man.
I'm nearly getting. It's like a nick with me when I'm even watching him
Oh,
eat it. It's crazy. I don't know how someone
Jesus
eats dry
Christ.
Weetabix. Imagine how dry
Dry
Weetabix is like.
Weetabix. Oh no, I won't be into that now. In fairness.
That's like trying to eat Oldies without dipping them.
Yeah, yeah. You need to dip them bad boys.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 Weetabix for Acers. There you go. Williams in eating dry cereal should get you put on some type of list.
Well, William, we both know he is on some sort of list.
JP, that is the guy. Do you follow him? Do you follow him, JP? And have you seen all the lads? There's loads of lads now doing videos, absolutely taking the piss out of this
He's
guy,
serious.
and he's loving it. Yeah, it's crazy,
The
crazy.
lads in the chat know where this lad, Irish lad, Nasty is his name. He's gone. There's a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
influencers at this United game,
yeah.
and he was
Nasty.
playing.
He does the abracadabra stuff and all.
Yeah, sir. He was playing a friendly up in Bluebell for charity there last week, and as the teams are getting paraded out, he walks out eating a spice bag onto the pitch as the
Yeah, yeah. He's
players
the head
getting
text.
paraded off.
And they were doing the Stone Cold Steve Austin with the cans and all, weren't they? Did you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
yeah. So him and Ty Fleming and Connor Ryan or something like. I haven't a clue. I'm not. You know me. Like
Yeah,
I'm not.
Conor
I'm
Ryan
not.
is the guy who goes around doing the field reviews.
Yeah,
Conor
yeah,
Ryan
yeah.
goes around. He used to own the Buddy Cup.
I
Remember the
haven't
Buddy
like
Cup?
literally. I wouldn't be into the influencers now. The lads in work are just telling me about all these lads. I haven't
Yeah,
a
no,
clue
they're
who they
nice
are.
lads.
To be honest,
Connor's nice. Connor's a lovely fella. He's a nice fella and all. Nasty's a head case.
is
I
he?
think
I heard he's a
Nasty.
big Bowls fan.
He is. Check with Nasty. Check with Nasty if you're talking to him. I'm nearly sure when he was younger, he used to come into the shop all the time getting stuff.
He's
I'm
serious.
nearly sure. I recognize him, or else it's someone like him. So if you're talking to him,
Yeah, I'll
ask him,
say to
hey,
him on
did you ever
Saturday.
go to WrestleMania when you were a kid and all that?
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
him actually to give us a shout out. He probably owes something. I like and share all his stuff all the time.
I must
Yeah,
say to him, all right, yeah.
yeah. What's it like, Azers? It's the white one, isn't it? It's the white one with the invert is it the changed Nike swoosh, if you like.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
For
And
me,
by the
with
way,
spraying a
cuz
bit of red or something, isn't
I checked out that website yourself, Morrison and Eno were talking about last week. Very, very good. Very good.
it? It's lit,
I
isn't
passed it on to David, who's just got into the chat there. Passed it on to him. So yeah,
it?
I'm look. What 2 weeks you said? How are you
Yeah,
got? How are you got here? How was
yeah,
it going,
about
cuz?
2.5 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now looking forward to it. Listen, I've after picking out a load of stuff.
it's mad. And you see all the retro
Uh,
gear?
yeah, I love it, love it, love
It's
it.
great for the kids as well because the kids just burn through the kits.
€12 for a kit, like the new one.
Yeah, but you can get like if you wanted, you could get Messi's into Miami or
Yeah.
if you wanted, you could get Mbappe's Real Madrid,
You
and
can get the retro 99 home jersey, the league jersey United as a kids kit. Class, man.
black and mint. I thought the black and mint one was the second jersey. No, am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting confused. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I've looked at so many kits these days. 12:45 kickoff Saturday. Liverpool versus United.
Like I said, so I'll hopefully have a drink in my hand with one of the United legends at that stage.
If you if you just go into Google and you type in soccer 03, you won't go too far
Very
wrong.
good, JP.
You won't go too far
They
wrong.
do the basketball jerseys, all the football
Every
jerseys,
Yeah,
runners,
they've
you
all the
name it.
Nike. The runners are unbelievable. Yeah, I got myself a pair of the Ben and Jerry's ones, and they're tops. Tops.
Daily.
Niall, on the
But
Red Bettis watch along the other night, Jordan was on a mad one first. He had the red top hat on with some sunglasses. Then he was booting his door saying Jackie Chan. That lad is on a different gravy, that lad. Different
sounds like
gravy.
an episode of Love, hey?
Yeah, the football was the least of your worries, I suppose. And Supermax was giving out free meals yesterday. What was
No
that for?
way. The All Ireland for Galway been in the final, but
Yeah,
they lost. Obviously, Armagh won by a point in the end, I think it was,
yeah.
wasn't it?
They started charging right after the final whistle.
Oh, cause you want to see it yesterday. I was hoping Galway would win or be going to extra time because the keys and trying to get home to Lucan yesterday from work,
Mental.
no go.
Mental. Tell us this: has there been any update yet on Highland and Europe in terms of injuries?
Euro,
Good.
they what Ten Hag said, it could be a significant amount of time was what he said. There's no exact confirmation of how long it will be, and it's crazy for the young lad. He's only 18. He only missed 6 days of in previous his previous club for injuries, and he's played a match and a half for us, and it looks like he could be out for most of the season.
I don't understand why teams. Give me your thoughts on this, but I don't understand why teams go and play on Astro.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
it's
You're asking for trouble. You're asking for
yeah
trouble,
no
and that's my biggest fear now with these Liverpool games coming up as well, because we had a stockpile of injuries last season,
mm,
and again, I just think this is dodgy ground if you're doing that kind of thing.
yeah no it is, and listen. With the technology nowadays, with the 4G pitches and stuff like that, it's much better than it was. I remember watching years ago. I can't remember what was Division One team. Remember they had like the hockey Astro. Do you remember that back
Yeah,
in the day? I can't remember what team it was, but they are a recipe for disaster in terms of injuries. And if you play on them a long time, like Dundalk, you see Dundalk have their Astro and it's in bits. It affects your knees and your lower back like no ends. It's hard. They're horrible pitches to play on over a long
absolutely.
period of time, and it does shorten your career span as well. Playing on
And
them, if you're if
there's,
you're a
there's no give either. Like if you get a bad tackle in there and you go down on a shoulder or something, you're gonna do a collarbone and all. There's no
yeah,
give.
and not only that, you look at there's some rugby clubs out there that have the Astro pitches, and I'm looking at them going, lads, is that diving on that for tries and this, that, and the other?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a good
Pacers
thing to be
reckons
doing.
Rasmus is out till November or December. That'd be terrible news.
Yeah, no,
Terrible.
they were talking. Obviously, you've
He's saying
Zerky in there, but
Euro not back till the new year.
yeah,
Apparently,
that's what he was saying, a significant amount of time, but it's not totally confirmed yet. We're still waiting to hear, but yeah, it's not looking too good.
yeah, no, that's not good at all. That's terrible. Uh, Shells went on Astro and got a result.
We always do, cause
There
led.
you go.
So obviously the second leg of the Shells tie is on Thursday. Obviously 3-0 down from the first leg, but hopefully they'll be able to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, I want to talk to you. Old Trafford.
Hmm.
Talked to Darren last week. I did on the show. He had mixed emotions about the tunnel. I think the tunnel looks pretty cool. I know it's not finished yet, and there's lots still to go into it and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But the older tunnel is quite iconic, isn't it? When you think about it,
yeah.
you walk out. There's a kind of a ruggedness to it and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And all. The
It,
bottom
it,
one looks very space age, modern kind of.
yeah, it brings you down to earth. The top one, doesn't it? Reminds you of back in the day playing and stuff like that. But yeah, I was only over there last week or the week before it was, and I was there with the girls, and we went around the stadium, and we didn't do the tour, but we were walking around the stadium, and just at the gate. You can see the gap. There's gaps at the gate where you can see down and see through the tunnel. So we had a look and got a picture and stuff like that. And obviously we have done the tour before, myself and Yvonne, and it's an iconic moment to stand in the tunnel and walk down and listen. It's an empty stadium on the tour, but you get that feeling of how the players would feel, standing there. And we've had those iconic moments. Obviously, Sir Alex's last game, and he's walking down the tunnel, and obviously the Cantona's return after the suspension against Hughes, and you see that great shot of him coming out of the tunnel. They extend the tunnel out, and all the players walk out and stuff like that.
And so many Roy Keane arguments.
Yeah, and listen, remember, I think it was Robbie Savage ran down the tunnel and hit into Ferdinand and sparked the brawl. And like I said, with the whole Arsenal thing with the Pizzagate, and yeah, listen, if Walls could talk, it'd have loads of stories. But I suppose it's like anything, you have to keep up with the times, and the actual dressing room has been done up obviously over the last few years and stuff, and it's real kind of new. But I remember doing the tour in the old one, and you had the medical table in the middle, like the old days, and they'd be getting rub downs on that, and you had the big baths, that's all showers and all high tech now and everything, and in terms of rub downs and stuff like that. So yeah, but seeing the news today, yeah, listen, I'm quite like that. So I'm kind of mixed emotions, the history within the stadium. Like I was talking about this the other day, and like myself and my dad were there the first time he ever lifted the Premier League trophy against Blackburn, the last game of the season. We were there for most of the season, like at the home games, but then we were there the next year for Coventry on the last day when we lifted the trophy again for a second time. And so many moments there for Sir Alex's testimonial. Rooney, when he scored that volley against Newcastle, we were there for Ronaldo's first goal for United against Portsmouth at home, and all these memories. And listen, we've bad memories. I was there when Mourinho knocked us out of the Champions League with Porto when he ran down the line and slid down, and me, my dad pulled a bogey one on me. Him and his mate. But there was 3 tickets. Him and his mate took the lower one, and I ended up on my own up the top of the North Stand. And that walk is long ass walk when you've just lost as well. So
Yeah.
But at the same time, listen, the stadium has been neglected for so many years by the owners and the United fans. We've seen it. I think the wake up call and what the whole world's seeing against Arsenal at that time with the waterfall, like you had to slide up after it and stuff like that. We've known about this for a long time, and it's only then fans from the outside of other clubs seeing how bad of a state we actually were in, and not only on the pitch but off the pitch as well. So I think with the way the times are now, to keep up with everyone else, I think it's something that has to be done. Although, yeah, listen, it's sad, and been there 2 weeks ago with the kids and walking down the Munich tunnel and the history, and like I said, been there with my dad at that age as well, going to games and stuff like that. It really does kind of like I'd be the same as you, because I know you and the guys go to the memorial in Anfield and stuff like that. And I presume it's the same for you. When I turn a certain corner on Matt Busby Way and you see even when you're in a taxi and you see in the skyline, you just see the top of Old Trafford, I still get goosebumps and stuff like that. And obviously from back in the day, going to the games in the early 90s and throughout the 90s, there was change. The North Stand got done first, then we got the quadrants, and we got the West and the Stretford End and the other stand done as well. And it's about getting it right as well for me, in terms of there's still a residential area behind the South Stand as well, and they're going to have to obviously communicate with them. Behind the North Stand there's all kind of industrial ground and wasteland and stuff like that in between Media City and there. Myself and the girls walk from Media City. We walked down towards Coronation Street, and it's only a 10-minute walk from Coronation Street straight up to Old Trafford. So we got off the tram in ITV, and the Match of the Day studios are down there, and you can just walk up, and it's all just industrial. But they'll have to do something with, like I said, communicating with the residents in the area and stuff like that. But yeah, for me it's sad, because you're losing all the memories, and going there as a kid. And I only said it to Yvonne this evening, I want to get the girls over for a game and stuff like that. Now obviously it's going to take a good few years for all this is only coming out today. So but they're talking about obviously spending 2 billion on it as well. So it'd be interesting to see where the finances for that come. I know Ratcliffe probably won't do what Kroenke done and spend his own money on it, but what I fear then as well is you're looking at kind of naming rights and stuff like that, because as Ineos will be like thinking, right, we could get 30, 40 million a year from naming rights, you know what I mean? That will start chip away at the payment for the actual stadium itself. But for me and you and everyone out there, you don't have to be a United fan. You don't want to see any club go down that road and name like we're seeing with the Aviva Stadium and stuff like that. You know, you want the name to be kept in some way, shape, or form. You don't want to see it going down. Carrington was named the Aon training ground and all. That's fair enough. That's the training ground. I don't mind that. If I get money for that, fair enough. But I don't want to see it happen to the stadium. So, but yeah, very mixed emotions. And but I think you have to be a realist and think, you know, the sign of the times. You just spoke there about the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's one of the best stadiums I've seen in terms of what it has, and you know, it's just top class facilities, and that's what the top teams need nowadays. And well, that's what they come the realization of seeing it after this task force. And obviously Gary Neville's brought up issues and stuff like that. So but yeah, it's sad. But listen, we all have our memories of it, and we'll have to move on once the new stadium gets built and eventually opens.
Yeah, and they're talking about it being 100,000 seater as well, which
Yeah.
is going to be really, really impressive. But I suppose the problem that faces clubs at the moment is, and United are tops for this, even when they're not as good, not as doing as good as they would normally do, or being as successful longer. Like that whole revenue generation, the commercial side of stuff and all. But on top of that as well, the key area for them is match day revenue. So
Yeah.
the more people they get in there,
More
the
bumps on
more money
seats.
spent. The
Yeah.
more money spent on tickets, the more money spent in the merch store, the more money spent on food and drink and hospitality and all the local area and everything that shines off that and everything
Mm.
as well, you know. So it's really, really important that they do that. I get it about the naming of the stadium and all that kind of stuff, but we've seen it with Arsenal. Arsenal is kind of like the blueprint for it, really, isn't it? Where
The
they've
Emirates.
moved to the Emirates, but it's just not Highbury. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And the problem, I suppose, in terms of the way it's done is it was never meant to be Highbury. You
Mm.
know, it was meant to be the Emirates. You know, and that's the problem. You see it with Spurs, probably to a lesser extent and stuff like that. Stadium is absolutely unbelievable, but again, obviously White Hart Lane wouldn't carry near the history that Old Trafford carries or Highbury would have
Mm.
carried or whatever it is, you know. But yeah, it's a difficult one for fans. The older fans will say not in a million years. The younger fans will say, well, if it leads to more revenue, leads to better opportunity to sign
Mm.
players, leads to a better opportunity to be more successful on the pitch, then that kind of sits okay with us
Mm.
and stuff like that and all, you know. But it's
It
obviously, as
is.
you
It's
said,
tough.
when you go there, you got the Munich tunnel, you got the clock, you know, we've got Highbury,
Yeah.
we've got Hillsborough and all the
Yeah.
stuff that goes with that and all. So it is a difficult one if a decision was made and stuff like that. And it's, you know, you hear about like, you know, these fabulous European nights and stuff like that at Old Trafford and at Anfield and stuff like that and all. It's very hard to replicate that in a new stadium.
Yeah, and it's
Because
even.
obviously when you sell those extra 30, 40,000 tickets as well, you know, what type of fan is coming in? Are you getting more and more touristy? Or is it
Mm.
actual, you know, the heartbeat of
Fans.
the club, those fans,
Yeah.
you know, the football fans as
It's
opposed to visitors, you know?
yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. And like I said,
Yeah.
just the memories I have. And there was a clip there a while back. I was watching the Premier League years on Sky. You know, this time of the season, there's obviously not much football on, and it was the 92-93 season. And obviously, like I said, I was there the last game of the season. We were there throughout the season. I think we were at most home games, but I always remember the last game
Mm.
and Palace scoring the free kick. He was the only player not to have scored out of the whole squad, and he took a free kick and bottom right hand corner. But what got me, there was a clip of Sir Matt Busby crying in the stands when we won the first trophy, and I just
Mm.
thought to myself, I was in the same stand as Sir Matt Busby at that match. Like, you know, that's what it was weird. And um,
Yeah.
another thing came into me. Obviously, we have the Sir Alex Ferguson stand and the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. What way are they going to do that and stuff like in the new stadium? Little things like this just popped into my head, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I haven't seen those 110s yet. I'll check them out though. And yeah, we'll decide probably tomorrow as he has hit. with a bad hurricane. Yeah, you'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, no, it is. It's a really tough one because obviously I mean, we've spoken on this podcast a number of times about Rovers when they moved out of Milltown.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And you lose your identity and stuff like that.
Mm,
It is a big one, and it's always a tough decision, and it's not always easy as well to convince fans is it the right or wrong thing to do. And I think probably until you do it, it's hard to know how successful it will be, and will when you look at those two stadiums side by side there, are you able to move it because it's not in the same footprint? Are
yeah,
you able to move it right beside it and stuff like that? Is it not as big an upheaval basically? Whereas you
yeah,
see, obviously, they moved from Highbury to the Emirates. There was
yeah.
there was a bit of a distance, if you like, and
Yeah,
stuff like
I've
that
been
for
there
the
as well. Yeah, so when you come out the
mm,
Emirates tube station or the Highbury tube station, sorry, Highbury's on your left, and then you swing
mm,
it right, and it's about a 10-minute walk there. Now you can obviously see, but obviously there's a bit
mm,
of a walk, so it's a bit of a distance. And I know the
yeah.
Spurs one day it
But
was
even
built
when
that.
you look at West Ham, and you think of Upton Park, and then you think of
Yeah,
the move
yeah,
to that London City Stadium and all, and it's just sometimes it doesn't. It'll be interesting actually when we see how Everton's one turns out when they move from Goodison
exactly. Yeah,
to the new stadium down on the docks and stuff like that, where Goodison has been kind of a fortress with them because of the old style way of the stadium, and it's right on top of the action and all stuff like that. And all. So
exactly.
we'll see, but it's certainly they're always going to be looking for ways and to grow their revenues, and match day seems to be a huge one at the moment. Right, let's get your thoughts on this, the Olympics.
Yes,
We had obviously Morocco and Argentina, 2 hour VAR decision. Absolutely
madness,
bedlam, um,
madness.
out of control and stuff like that. And I suppose I made the point with Darren on Thursday. Paris and France have history of this. They're not
Mm,
great at organising stuff. In fairness, you know what
mm.
I mean. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I just want to find out the lads' thoughts on the opening ceremony as well. Myself and the girls sat down here. We actually got a chipper on Friday night and we were watching it, but I thought it was a bit weird. I don't know. Um, yeah, listen, I didn't see much of the football now. Obviously, I was off last week to watch the Argentina game and what unfolded there and stuff like that. But I didn't actually see what happened live in the Morocco game and stuff, But from what I'm seeing as well, it's not good. Like that sort of way. For the Argentina game, they clear out the stadium and stuff. It's like that's madness. Like
Yeah.
and like you said, there is obviously history before of things not being well organized, and that puts the risk of health and safety on the athletes as well, and the players on that pitch, and you're going to represent your country, and stuff like this happens as well. So it leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Mm. And there's been a lot of stuff going on over there. I mentioned last week on the show as well. An Australian girl was there, and she was raped by five guys and
Seeing
stuff like
and
that, which
did
was
you see the
horrific.
Dutch volleyball player as well and
Mm,
stuff? It's madness.
yeah,
Like
and
he
then
should
we
be
seen the
nowhere near them.
arson thread attack on the subway, and then you had this, and
Yeah,
then we had this. We had the Canadian situation where a drone
the
was
drone.
flown over the New Zealand training camp
Seeing
by
that, yeah.
by members of the Canadian analyst team. So what's come out of that basically, I spoke to Darren about it last week, but what's come out of it now is they've had a 6 point deduction. They've been fined 200,000 Swiss francs. And the analyst, Joey Lombardi, this is the guy who apparently isn't accredited. He's just in there. He's been given an 8 month suspended prison sentence and sent
Serious.
home by the team after being caught flying the drone over New Zealand training session ahead of the game between the sides, which Canada won 2-1.
And
Um,
this has
and this
Bielsa written all over it, doesn't it?
and this has now gone to this. The appeal has gone to CAS. Both sides have submitted their appeals or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. So CAS is obviously going to make a ruling on this. Um, but did we ever think we'd see today drones being flying over, getting
It was
footage in
it
the
was
women's?
only a matter of time, wasn't it? I did watch some of the lads on YouTube, like DJ audits and all PJ audits and stuff like that. And listen, there's they know all the rules and the aviation laws. It wasn't in a restricted area, so they could fly over it. But yeah, it's just bad sportsmanship, and in my eyes, obviously, we've seen it with Bielsa that time with Lampard when Leeds were playing Derby, and your man got caught at the training ground and stuff. Where listen, they should get on with your own thing. If you need to resort to that type of thing, well then you know your team's in a bad way. If you train your team right, prepare them right for a game, you've got every chance of winning that game. You don't need these snide tactics to do it. Just get on and do it. Don't worry about the opposition. Worry about your own team. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. It just shows that they must have been desperate. Like,
Do you know what annoys me the most about this, and what really got my goat up was the fact that I regard the Olympics as the purest form of sports competition.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, they're above any other sport anywhere else in the world. The Olympics should be sacred. That should be the
exactly.
one that, if you're taking performance enhancing drugs, you're going to get caught. If you're
Oh yeah,
cheating, you're going to
yeah.
get caught. Whatever it is, boom, boom, boom. We've all seen the Icarus documentary about the Russians in the Winter Olympics and all
Yeah,
this kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
thing, Sochi and all that kind of stuff. And all. And I always put the Olympics up there as a pedestal for people on sports achievement. You know
Mm,
what I mean? That that
yeah,
that should be the purest form of sports
yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of
100%.
competition, fairness, respect, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And you started off and you see the boats the other night and all, and you've teams with 300 people and you've teams with 2 people.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
from these different countries and all, and it's all inclusive. There was even a refugee team and stuff like that and all, which I thought was it was weird but cool as well at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Saying that.
And
Yeah, yeah,
I always put it up there as a pedestal that, like, of all other sporting stuff and all, we can look at the Olympics as one that we could put up there and go, right, that level ground as much as you
yeah,
can in
yeah.
terms of sports.
You look at it. It's a lot of
Mm,
these. Like, we were watching the gymnastics yesterday morning, I think it was, and the boxing. These are all amateurs. Yeah, the footballers and a few others are paid professionally to do that, but these are
mm,
amateurs. These are putting hours in the gym or whatever they're training in to do, and in all hours of the day. From They're preparing this basically since the last Olympics finished. So um it's like I said, for that situation was an absolute disgrace, and it just leaves it for me. It just and yeah, the sanctions they got probably were right and stuff like that, but it leaves a sour taste in my mouth
yeah,
if I'm being honest.
yeah. See what sums up the Olympics for me. I don't know if you've seen the video last week. The guy who I think he had an accident and he's been a paraplegic since he was 4 or 5 or something like that.
Right.
And they had him in a suit. It was like an Iron Man suit,
Okay.
and he was stood up straight and he was walking, up this road. He had the Olympic torch in his hand.
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah,
Did
I
you
seen
see
that.
the
Yeah, yeah,
video?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Absolutely. To me, that image there sums up the Olympics and what's
Mm,
it about and
yeah,
stuff like that. And then you deal with this fucking shit, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, you know what I mean.
It's a joke,
It's
isn't it? Like,
horrible. In terms of the opening ceremony, I was the same. It was there was very little in it about sports, really, wasn't there?
yeah,
When you think
it's a
about it.
bit. All
So,
what they tried to do, the Last Supper and the reenactment and all, I thought was just a bit, I don't know, a bit cringe if I'm being honest.
I thought, to me it was like I was watching a tourist, like the French tourist board
Yeah,
advertising
yeah, yeah.
France to
It
the
was,
world,
yeah, some of it was like an episode
as
of
opposed to
that.
the Olympics,
Yeah, yeah,
you
no, it
know.
was, and a lot of it
Yeah,
was, some of it was like watching was it RuPaul's Drag Race or something like that and all, and nothing against it,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
just thought it was a bit,
yeah,
what had it got to
yeah.
do with the Olympics, that sort of
Yeah.
way, it was a
And then
bit
what you
kind
would
of,
get was you were getting 10 minutes of each of these different show type things,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
we would go back to a barge where there was a
yeah,
couple
yeah,
of
yeah,
teams
yeah,
on,
yeah,
and we'd be back kind of in Olympic mode,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you'd be off for Les Mis, and then you'd be
yes,
back, and then you'd be off for the Last Supper,
yeah,
and then you'd be back, and then we
and
got a
then
rock band, and
they
then we
were
got
showing you
France and
random.
Dance with the Nicki Minaj, and
That's it, and then random facts about French historic women and stuff like this, and yeah, it was a
mm,
bit mad, a bit all over the place.
yeah, and there was no real, apart from Zidane, which I thought at the start was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
nice touch.
And I thought that's the way it was going to go. But other than that, then it was like there wasn't a huge focus on famous French sports people,
No,
really.
no,
You
no,
know what I
definitely
mean?
not.
this is a huge sporting event.
exactly.
This is this is not like a cultural tourist advertisement for Paris or
Yeah,
whatever it was. You know what I mean? It just felt weird, and
yeah, it was a
Jesus,
bit.
it was long as well, wasn't it?
It was like the boat seemed to take forever to get up
Yeah,
the river, and yeah, like I
yeah.
said, we were sitting here having a bit of chipper watching it. We treat ourselves to
Mm,
once a month to a takeaway, and that
yeah.
just happened to be it. And it was interesting. The girls were loving all the colours, and it was
The
funny.
dance and all and everything. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
there was a shot of the Eiffel Tower, and Holly, me 1.5-year-old, went, "Daddy, Blackpool, Blackpool." She
There you
thought
go.
Blackpool was on the
Not
telly, like
far
so.
wrong. Not far
He's
wrong.
gas. He's
Um,
gas.
But yeah, I felt the same. I thought it was very drawn out. Halfway through it, I was thinking, just give me an archer with a bow to shoot a
Yeah,
flame and torch
bang,
up onto
exactly, yeah,
onto the flame and stuff like that. Even if you miss it, it's all good. I'll believe it, you know. But it was yeah, it was
exactly.
kind of like it was pretty drawn out, and I'd say it must have cost them a pretty penny as well. Big
Oh,
budget
yes,
they spent on it as well.
100% it did.
Absolutely massive. Um, Jordan's buzzing that Steve Bruce
Steve
being the
Bruce.
next Jamaican manager. Yeah, he was on the other night talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There you go.
Do you reckon
Mm,
Alex Bruce might get a debut for Jamaica? Some long distance grandfather or
mm,
something like that?
so, can happen. Can happen. Listen, if John Candy can train the bobsleigh team, it can happen.
That's it. That's it.
Um, Steve Coogan to play Mick McCarthy in Saipan film.
I read this today, and I'm a big Steve Coogan fan in terms of myself, and I loved Alan Partridge, like loved him
Yeah,
myself, and my mate Duffer used to watch him all the time. Um, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, and I like. How are you, Henry? What's the story, pal? Um, yes, bang on the money, Dahi.
yeah, spot
Um,
on.
like Niall said at the top of the show there, if you haven't already, go on to the channel, and myself and Niall done an episode about Saipan, about how we felt about it and stuff like that. It was very good. So, but yeah, this is going to be interesting. It'd be interesting to see who's going to be playing Roy. I didn't read into it. Had they linked to anyone with playing Roy? Probably play himself, will he?
Listen, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Sure, it's only
Yeah,
a short cameo appearance anyway.
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. But no,
He
but
won't be there that long.
Steve be able for anything, like you seen his portray, and obviously, like I just said, he can go from Alan Partridge to pay someone like Jimmy Savile, and he takes up serious roles as well. And obviously, he's got
Yeah,
massive connection with Ireland. Obviously, his family's from Ireland, his mum and dad from Ireland. They moved to
yeah.
Manchester when he was younger and stuff like that as well. And he still comes back here to holiday to see relatives and stuff like that. So he and obviously in this the Alan Partridge program, he had his mother's family from Mayo, and we all know that famous clip of him slipping the "Get Out Your Black and Tan" song into the program and stuff like that. So yeah, he's a big fan of the island that we live on, and he's Irish blood running through his veins. So yeah, it'd be a good role for him, I have to say.
It's certainly going to be interesting, isn't it? How they cast it. And
There's a good
some
shout from David. Good shout,
Ned
cuz.
from Love Hay. Ned from Love Hay to play
You can
King.
imagine. Oh, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, we should. We'll have to. It'd be interesting if we look and see who would we cast. Who's going to play? Who'd play the likes of Robbie Kane and stuff like that.
Um, yeah, be in Niall Quinn. Get Jill Scott to play Niall Quinn.
Duff Duffer could play himself because he hasn't
Yeah,
changed.
he hasn't changed a
Duffer could
bit.
play himself.
He's a bit more outspoken now, but yeah, he hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah. Jesus, remember that
It'd be
stage?
it'd be it'd be a good
Remember the play, Oi King, and all.
yeah, do you remember that after? Yeah. Now, it'd be good. I'd be interested in watching it now, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, it'd be definitely interesting. We'll definitely follow it. All right, that's for sure.
But yeah,
Right,
like I
let's
said,
round
I'm
out
a
with a
big
bit of
believer.
transfer news because we're
Yes.
just coming up the hour. The first one I have for you tonight: Billy Gilmore talks of Billy Gilmore. According to Sky Italy, Napoli will submit a bid for Brighton's Billy Gilmore.
That'd be interesting. I don't know if it'd be necessarily the right move for him in terms of you'd like to see a player of his quality kind of stay in the Premier League and stuff like that. Um, but
I
yeah,
I
no,
don't. My first reaction is For me, Billy Gilmore is more like a kind of a Fiorentina player or something. That he's not a Napoli player.
If you were going to link him with an Italian club, absolutely. But I just think there's probably other clubs in the Premier League that I'd link him to first before Napoli. But
JP
yeah,
saying Conte loves him. There you go.
yeah, that says it
Conte
all,
loves.
JP.
There we go. Interesting one though. Leon defender Jake O'Brien is having a medical at Everton at the moment. 24-year-old will sign for 17 million.
It'd be a brilliant signing for them. Jake is a great defender.
Mm.
He really shone in the Kennedy Cup there a good few years ago. When he was playing for I can't remember, the Cork League. Was it the Cork League, the Munster League, or something like that? But he's head and shoulders. He was one of the better players there, and for me, Everton have always had really good, strong, big defenders. You look at the like of Distan, Jagielka, these types of players, and Jake is up there. He's a all action centre half, and he gets up for corner, scores goals, and he's had the experience of playing over in France now for a number of years, and I think this is going to be an excellent signing for Everton. I really do, and I think obviously with Keane still there, he's that experience, Premier League experience. He'll ease him in, and I can't see anything other than good coming out of this one.
Yeah, I was listening to United, one of the United creators today as well, and the talk coming out of United at the moment is, excuse me, that in order to make more signings now, it'll depend on the squad structure, but also they need to get players out of town.
Yeah, of course. I
So,
just seen even today, Wan-Bissaka being linked with Fulham. So even though for me, I'd like to keep Wan-Bissaka if I'm being honest. But yeah, we'll have to, yourself, financial fair play and all. We have to look at get more players out. Obviously, Varane's gone and Martial's been gone out the door. We were hoping maybe to get Anthony out on loan and free up a little bit of the wage bill. Send him off for a season or so. But I'm very happy with the way we've worked so far. We've worked very fast, and like I said last week, it just shows you the difference when you have a structure there. You have something from the board down, how easy transfers are, and not having to pay that United tax, not having to pay over the odds as well, getting deals done at a right price, like you've seen Edwards do for yourself over the years and stuff like that. And hopefully, listen, it's gone quiet now. I think it was all action for 2-3 weeks there, and we were happy, and but it was always going to go quiet for a while. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. And like you said,
yeah.
we'll get one or two players out the door so we can move a few more in.
I suppose the extent of the two boys' injuries as well will be pivotal.
Yeah,
Maybe some of
yeah,
the.
we'll see there as well. And listen, we've seen with the likes of Regulon and stuff, we have an option to maybe to get players in on loan, and maybe with an option to buy then instead of having to buy all the time. And we've seen it so many times in the past. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how the picture
So
unfolds.
it sounds some of the news coming out is the Matthias de Ligt move is dependent on potentially the Victor Lindelof exit.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
who knows what way that might go now. Obviously, if Yoro's injury
bad.
is
Yeah,
bad, so let's see what happens there. Xavi Simmons, Dutch player
yeah,
who's been linked with a lot of top teams. Looks like he's gone rejoin RB Leipzig on another season long loan, which is kind of a little bit disappointing. I don't know whether it was driven by PSG or whether the lad himself lacks maybe a little bit of ambition or something like that. I'm not too sure.
yeah.
Maybe the right
I
offer
didn't read
wasn't
much into it. Now, I that's one of the ones I hadn't looked at today, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's a strange one to go to Leipzig, and there must have been a falling out behind the scenes somewhere there.
absolutely.
He's a very good player, in fairness to him, but I didn't read it much into it today. Graham Norton, yeah.
I'm not just on the line. Good lord. Who else could you
You could
have
have
in?
Jake the Snake. What was his name?
Uh, who?
Damien. Jake the Snake, his actual snake,
Oh, yeah,
Damien. He could play Delaney.
yeah. We're just about to finish up, Jack. We're just finishing off with transfers. Xavi Simmons is a brilliant player, very intelligent for his age, absolutely. Which is
Definitely,
why
yeah.
I found strange that he didn't want to maybe move on from the PSG situation and stuff like that. And especially when you think of the players that PSG have lost as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
wouldn't have thought he might
exactly.
have been nailed on there, So interesting that he went that way. What else have I got for you? Como have signed Rafael Varane on a two-year
Yeah,
deal. This is one that we knew was kind of coming.
yeah.
Um, and interesting as well because obviously not a club that's absolutely flush with money, I would imagine.
No, no,
He was managing
100%.
there. That's Fabregas, isn't it?
Cesc there, yeah, he
That's
was there, yeah.
so that must have been pivotal in bringing him in as well. So,
Yeah,
um,
and like in fairness, I think the pace of the league will suit Varane. We know as obviously as a United fan, you get a few good games out of him, and then he gets an injury. So I think the pace of the Premier League or the pace of the Italian league will suit more than the Premier League because it's that little bit slower. There's not many as impact injuries in Italy as you might get in the Premier League as well. So I think that would suit him for his body and his the way he's made a wee bit sometime.
yeah. Man that you're closely linked with and you've spoken about a number of times on the show, and so has Darren. Had an unbelievable season that time in the Championship with Blackburn. Ben Brereton Diaz looks
Yes.
like he's going to be going on a permanent deal. Southampton in advanced talks with Villarreal to bring him in.
Mm.
I think he'd be a fantastic signing for Southampton.
Yeah, like we seen we obviously know what he done with Blackburn that time and how he got to move away and he was with Sheffield United last season on loan and I think him and McBurney had a few squabbles in training from what I heard and stuff like that as well. And it wasn't obviously going to be made permanent given Sheffield United were relegated. I'd love to see him come back into the Premier League and he's a great goal scorer. He puts himself about. Obviously, he's a Chilean international now as well, and
Mm.
I think it'd be a great deal for Southampton. I think did Shea Adams move away from Southampton?
I think he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, it'd be bringing a natural goal scorer in to replace him.
Yeah. He feels like the kind of forward player as well that would suit a Southampton style of play.
Yeah,
In that kind of like, I look at Ben Brereton Diaz play and he plays in, not to big him up too much, but he plays in that Letitia kind of way, doesn't he?
yeah. He puts himself about, and he's a character.
Mm.
He's a big, tall lad as well, and he scores all sorts of goals from inside and outside the box. But he's very intelligent off the ball as well. So he'll bring that to Southampton, and obviously it'd be interesting to see who they get in because it's all about with him supply. So it'd be interesting to see what midfielders, if any, they bring in to help him with that.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you make of this? Tottenham forward Brian Hill again is expected to complete a loan to Girona next week. Spurs just don't fancy this guy at all. Sure they don't.
No, and it's a bit like Troy Parrott that time. They're sending him out on loan to all these places. Just sell him.
Yeah.
There's no point having him on the books and lead him up the garden path thinking he's going to get into the first team at some stage, and you're sending him out on loan here, there, and everywhere. Just sell the kid.
Mm.
Let him settle into a club. It's hard for lads like to go in on loan on 6 months or a season long deal.
Constantly.
Exactly, you're trying
You
to
never
set
feel
your
you never feel apart or something.
that's the thing, and you're trying to set your family into an area, and they're only there for a season, and then you're fecked off somewhere else. So, mentally, it's draining on the kid as well.
And especially we know, obviously, both of us know this moving house is the most stressful thing you can do in your
Oh,
life.
absolutely. And
You
I
know,
know I don't think he's any kids, but if he did, and trying to get them into skills and
mm,
so on and so forth, it's those things behind transfers that you don't think of that are the most stressful. But yeah, like I said, if you don't fancy him, sell him, let him settle into a club and start his career off on the right foot.
yeah, absolutely. And obviously, Italian defender Riccardo Calafiori he's landed in the States to meet up with his Arsenal teammates
Yeah,
to get going by the looks of things. So looks like that's all sorted, done and dusted, and everything else and all. And about time as well. To be honest, I think it's dragged on way too long at this
yeah, it
stage.
has, yeah, yeah.
Good that he's out there and he's going to be able to meet up and get a bit of a pre-season in there and stuff after his move from Bologna.
Good
Um,
defender, good defender.
what,
And
yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, and do you reckon could this tell that someone might be out the exit door for them?
They look very heavy over that side now, don't they? Weight wise with people.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm thinking.
what are we talking about? Who's going out? Are we looking at a? We're looking at either a Tomiyasu or a Sinchenko or a Kivior.
Is Tierney still on the books or is he gone?
Tierney is gone as far as I know, isn't he? Tierney is gone.
Is he gone?
He went
Yeah,
he went to Sociedad and now he's gone to can't remember where he's gone now.
maybe Tommy Yatsu then. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I know they're heavily weighted over that
yeah.
side anyway. And I know a couple of them just Tommy Atsu hasn't been bad when he's come in and stuff. That I remember he's had a lot of injuries and stuff like that, so it's
Mm.
kind of he's been upset by
Zinchenko,
that.
obviously, he has that Premier League experience and he's good at going forward as well and stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
Tierney had been unlucky with him. He came in, he started off well, but just injury wise, it's just setting
Mm.
back a good bit, you know.
Never felt with Tierney that Arteta fancied him.
No,
I don't.
no,
I don't know why because I think I think when he's injury free and he's playing well and all, he's such a good talent.
yeah, yeah,
Zinchenko's one of those guys who kind of he decides to go into business for himself and doesn't necessarily stick to the game plan,
he
and
looks on
that could be a
forward a
little
lot.
bit concerning as a manager. And Kivior, I think he's kind of flattered to deceive. At times he's been really really good, and then there'll just be a drop off, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's more of the same. So maybe this boy going in is going to make a difference, but certainly you're not going to be carrying four for that position, that's for sure.
no,
So
no,
someone's going to have to leave the building, if not two.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But let's see what happens. The final one I wanted to hit you with is David De Gea. Probably no surprise to you. There was a deal on the table there with Genoa, and but the deal has collapsed due to unrealistic salary expectations.
Yeah, I was just saying that, and obviously, listen, he was on a fair whack at us, and he's taken the year out, and he's been training by himself and working hard, and he's been training in Manchester and just outside Manchester a lot actually. But he, yeah, I'm not surprised when I heard the news. Like I said, he was on a fair whack with us, and we'd be expecting not to get that, but to get a decent whack. And I heard he was hoping to come back to us and stuff. And to be honest with you, if you seen Anana's antics against Arsenal the other night, you take him back in a heartbeat, But I'd like to
Mm.
see him come back in because a keeper of his quality to be out of the game for so long, there's only so much you can do in training, and you work on your reflexes. But it's been in a team on a match day, been in that dressing room surrounded by your teammates and stuff. It's that you miss, and he needs that back. It's you're training on your own. You have your you and two other guys or whoever's training you.
Mm.
You need to get back into a dressing room, back into that routine of being with that,
Mm.
surrounded by the lads, being in that team environment. And I think he's been out for too long, so he needs to get back in. So in that situation, you kind of look at it going, maybe he should take whatever they're offering because he's found it hard to find a team.
Or if money's the issue, surely there's a spot for him in Saudi
Oh, definitely, yeah,
where
yeah,
they would pay the
100%,
money. You know what I mean? Because David De
yeah,
Gea still carries a bit of weight, but I mean,
yeah,
obviously, the longer you're out of work, and obviously he's been in the job centre for the last year or whatever that is. You know what I
yeah,
mean? The longer that goes on, the more diluted your brand becomes and your
yeah,
draw becomes. You
exactly.
know what I mean?
I
So
think it's
it's
harder for a goalkeeper as well, just in general, to get back into it like that.
mm, yeah, absolutely. But it was an interesting one. But I thought you guys had mentioned it to me before on podcasts about how this guy, his expectation of himself is just compared to and
Mm,
like you would have thought that you'd rather be working and playing football and being involved than to be
mm.
sitting at home and like it's not like he needs the dough. He ain't short
No,
money in
no,
any way.
exactly,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and it wouldn't have been good for his mental health the last year, the
Yeah, and you
training
look
on
at
his own.
Varane as
And
well. There's Varane going to Como. He's not getting 300 grand a week at
no,
Como.
no,
You know
definitely
what I
not,
mean, or
definitely
whatever
not.
it is. So he made the decision he wants to play football. A fair play to him. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's an interesting one, all right. But it's a shame really as well because David De Gea still has an awful lot to offer, especially on the European stage. So, but if it's a money thing, then maybe Saudi's the place to go.
yeah.
Any Galway tips before we go, Mark?
I
Does
have
Galway and a tip actually exist?
one picked out for Wednesday, but it's just one of my own little kind of Hurricane Georgie for my beautiful daughter Georgia. It's 50 to 1. I'm just gonna do it each way for the crack, like.
Yeah, no, just I don't know. The one thing I've learned about Galway, it's like Leopardstown at Christmas as well. The one thing I learned about these things is like it's like getting a tip in a Grand National. It's
Stick a
you
pin
know
in the paper and just go for it.
yeah. Normally if you spend the whole week sort of backing around the 10 to 14 to 1 shots,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
probably
yeah,
come out ahead because
yeah.
they're always kind of where it lies and stuff like that. But Galway's such a tough meeting as well. Daz is in. That horse is running. Check 335. Goodwood tomorrow. Kipperus, I think it is. Jacksonchenko was shy at defending. Get in there, Jack. Don't let it go. Galway, flat or jumping. It's a mixture, isn't it? Is it a mix? Galway Festival.
It's jumping, is it?
Jumping it's jumping and hurdles, isn't it, as well? Yeah. David, mix of both this week, Daz. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's flat and jumping this week. There's a mix of the two. So there you go. Will Aidan O'Brien have any there, David? I would have thought so.
He should do, yeah. He usually sends a few out as well. Some that he doesn't run for a while and he'll put them out there. So, yeah, look
If
out for
there's
his
money
horse.
to be made on a beach in the Isle of Man, Aidan O'Brien would have a runner at it. Don't worry about that.
Definitely.
Crazy that 20 years ago we get Eugene, 20 years later, Joe Henry. Yeah, absolutely. Not much of a difference. Not much of a difference. Kypros is 4-9. Will I put Duffer to the FAI on it?
Hey.
There you go. Mark, are you going to the game tomorrow?
No, Jack. I'm obviously at home here in Dublin, but I'll be watching it on the telly, 100%. I have Tangerine TV there, so I'll be watching that.
There you go.
Tangerine. Should be a good one, though. Should be a good one, Jack. I hope you enjoy it tomorrow night when you go to it, man.
Tangerine TV, I love it.
Can't beat it, man. You can't beat it.
Well, listen, folks, another good show as always. I will be back Wednesday with Pro Wrestling Weekly with Russ will be on, and you never know, we might get Jamie on as well, which would be really cool. Reg is in. Reg Russell. How are you, Reggie Russell? How are you?
Reg.
You've got more IDs than a box of passports in Dublin Airport. How are you doing, fellas? It's Reg Russell, folks. That's REGGRUSSELL. Just for those who can't spell. My ticket tomorrow is only £2. £2
brilliant,
tomorrow.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. That's what it's about. That's what the league football is about, and the friendlies. It's about going seeing a live game of football and making it reasonable for lads to in the cost of living prices to go and see a game. You know.
Jack, take a bunch of pictures tomorrow and shoot them over to Marky on social media.
Definitely.
Take a bunch of pictures or a few videos or something. O'Brien had a winner today, Daz. He's there. He absolutely is there. Where are you sitting tomorrow, Jack? Immigration after him. There we go. Right, folks, cheers as always. If you can, make sure, folks, on the way out, if you haven't done already, like. So important. Obviously, subscribe and hit the bell notification. Wednesday is Pro Wrestling Weekly. Thursday, maybe Darren. If it's not Darren, I'll try and gear up Dana and we'll do a Sanctuary session. We'll talk about Liverpool and stuff like that. Let's see what happens. Keep an eye out on that. But if you have the bell notification, hit for all notifications, you'll know what we're doing because that's what happens. So from myself and from Stockley Park there in West Dublin, how are we, Marky? Thank you as always. And we'll talk to you again.
Thanks,
Cheers, folks.
Cheers.